Hello, hello, hello. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. Nicole Roberts Jones here, and welcome to FPP Live Faith, Purpose, and Profit. A weekly time we gather so we're connecting all things faith, purpose, and profit for you, number one, to live as the highest and best version of who God created you to be, and then to be able to create multiple streams of income from it, therefore living abundantly. I'm always excited to be here with you. And so, listen, as I talked about doing this live on this night, my husband got a little mad at me, like it's Valentine's Day, and he had a whole date planned for us. So this is being pre-recorded only because it's Valentine's Day. But I want you to know that I'm going to read every single comment. So come on in, tell me name and where you're from. I'll come back and watch all the information, but I have gifts for you. So hang tight and don't miss the blessing because it's pre-recorded. So, our conversation for today is what's love got to do with it? Listen, this is Valentine's week. So, what's love got to do with it? What's love got to do with you starting your purpose focused business? So, those of you that have ever heard me talk about my brilliance framework, which I used to call my fierce framework, but I wanted men to feel included, so now I call it my brilliance framework. The first step of the brilliance framework is what are you passionate about? So, oh, by the way, today I'm starting a 4-part series where I'll walk you through the layers around my framework because many of you that have been in my tribe have heard me talk about it. All of you that are in my FPP Circle program, we dig deep into it. So I'm talking around the edges. And the reason I'm doing that is because these are the things that people take for granted. The insight in this framework are the things that, especially the first two steps, are the areas that I see so many purpose focused entrepreneurs overlook. So, as we talk about what's love got to do with it, and we look at, like, for instance, there's a Chinese proverb that says, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Well, God pre wired you to do work you love. That's in alignment with your assignment. You've got to get clear and uncompromising about it. That is one of the reasons I do the work that I do. Well, let me be clear. That's my calling, is that you get clear on your calling so that you can get in the very lane that God created you to dwell in. Another of my favorite quotes is by Steve Jobs, and he said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle. I see so many people that settle for good enough. And listen, your good enough might be that you have already gotten a 6-figure paycheck. Your good enough may be that you have a corner office. Your good enough may be that you have the career you've dreamed of ever since you were little. And that's great. But God's not done with you yet. As I shared during last week's episode, my pastor covering Isaac Petrie said, listen, we live on levels and live life going through stages. If God was done with you, you'd be gone. So we don't settle. Powerful people don't settle. We go after all that we love. So as we talk about what's love got to do with it, I'm going to dig deeper into it. I'm going to share with you Romans 12:1, right? And here's what it says, and here's my Bible. As you see me looking to the side, 12:1 says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. I want y'all to get this. It says, present your bodies a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service. So here's the thing that's interesting, and I'm reading. So in my Spirit-filled Bible, those of you, there's notes underneath every Bible verse. So I'm not going to read all of it because this is all notes just right here. First of all, so little, and I don't have my readers in full disclosure. So I'm going to see how much of this I can read. Here's what it says. It says, listen, reasonable can mean pertaining to reason. As such, it suggests that a rational response to God's mercies is to commit ourselves in the act of worship, that our bodies are presented in worship. So here's the thing I want you to get. If we're going to be a good steward over the gift that God has given to each of us doing the work we love doing is stewarding our gift. This is why you getting clear on what you love is so important. Because it's no coincidence that you have this passion for certain things, that you love certain things. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 things that you must do to sacrifice. Because isn't love, don't you sacrifice in love? See, when you love something or someone, it's not about you. It's about what do you need to do or who do you need to be to do what it is that that person that you love needs. I think about the mother who may sacrifice finishing school so that she can pay for her child to go to school. I think about the women that sometimes sacrifice their careers to be a stay-home mom because they have 3 kids, and trying to juggle all these different schedules is a whole lot. One of my good girlfriends did that. And as soon as her kids went off to college, she went and got her law degree. Hello. So you sacrifice, and it's an act of service. So, in the same way, your gift is a sacrifice to God. When you think about all the people in the Old Testament, that when they would honor God, they would give God a sacrifice. So, what if you gave your career as a sacrifice? Come on, somebody. The thing when I say that, and I've said this in another training before, and people are like, I don't want to sacrifice, but you got to understand, God knows you better than you know yourself. So when you say, God, I'm committing my career to you, He's going to only do things that are in alignment with who you be. So, of course, you're going to love it. When I think about the fact that I walked away from the entertainment industry in 1993, and I love my job, by the way. Well, I didn't walk away in 93. I walked away in like 96. 93 is when I had my epiphany. It took me 3 more years to fully walk away. But here's the thing I want you to get. I love this way more. Now, I do miss elements of entertainment. I can see how those pieces are coming together here because I really do produce my clients, and I've had some opportunities to do some work with some celebrities. But the point I'm making is this. Had I not walked away from what I could see to go after what I couldn't see, but what I knew was rumbling inside my soul, there's no way I would have ever known that I would love this so much. But again, God knows you better. God knew me better than I know myself. I remember reading this years ago that God will dream a bigger dream that you would ever dream for yourself, but you got to trust Him. So if you're going to sacrifice and commit your life, your career as a steward, like you're stewarding your gifts, you're giving God back what He's given to you. That's what stewardship is. That's what tithe is, right? So, what have you considered giving your business, your career to God? Now, listen, a lot of times I'm talking about starting business, but those of you that might watch me that are career, oriented, this also applies to you because when you are working in a career, listen, an iPhone bless my soul, hallelujah, right? So thank God for Steve Jobs, but Steve couldn't have done this by himself. He needed a team of people, programmers and sales experts and marketing experts, and I can go on and on. So understand you still are part of being an answer that is meant to solve a problem in the world. That's why God gave you the natural propensity for some things and passion for some things. And you have an eye for some things. And there are things that you love. There are also things that frustrate you. The things that frustrate you, I guarantee you, the thing that you love will answer it. Oh, I can go into a whole conversation just about that, right? So I'm going to give you the 5 things you must sacrifice to have a purpose-focused, successful business. So if we're talking about what's love got to do with it, you've got to make a sacrifice. Y'all ready? And let me see where you are in this journey. And I got a gift for you, so hang tight. Number 1, the first thing you got to sacrifice is who you already are. See, when God calls you to your next, and you've heard me talk about this, a purpose matriculation system, in order for you to matriculate the next, you've got to let go of where you already are. So when I think about my 8th grade teacher, Miss Meg Morris, who is my friend on Facebook, hey, Miss Meg Morris, if you're watching this, she treated us like family. Okay. Yes, I'm still in touch with my 8th grade teacher. Love her, right? All my friends, all of us that went to school, because she just treated us all like family. And when I had to leave the comfort of my 8th grade classroom to go to high school, now listen, I had 13 people in my 8th grade class. I went to Inglewood Christian School. Shout out to ICS. And then I went to this huge school, thousands of people. It was a whole different experience. But I had to let go of comfort of the 13 people that were in my 8th grade class to go into a sea of a whole different experience. That's what I mean by letting go. You got to sacrifice who you were to become who you have yet to be. So in order to do that, you got to let go. When I left entertainment, I had to let go of all the people I knew. I had to let go of all the names on lists I had. I had to let go of all the parties I could get into. I had to let go of all the accoutrement, the red carpets, the everything, y'all. Listen, I had stars on speed dial. I had to let all of that go in order to do this thing that I didn't even know what to call it in 1993 because I didn't know there was no such thing as coaching. At least I hadn't heard of it. But again, God will dream a bigger dream than you dream for yourself. And sometimes, listen, Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So we focus on what we can see. And because we focus on what we see and we're not guaranteed to be success, we're like, Lord, I need a guarantee instead of saying, God, I trust you. God, I need you to guarantee that if I leave here, how dare you tell God that when He made you in the first place? And the way you are wired is what's happening inside you. Your wires are, listen, your job is just no longer big enough for your gift. So it's busting out. You busting at the seams. And some of you would choose number two to be comfortable. Listen, your comfort and your conviction can never coexist. You will hear me say this over and over and over again because when I meet highly successful people like you, you're comfortable. And it's the comfort that makes it really, really hard. Or you've done a certain number of things to get where you are, and you think, oh, I'm going to do these same things over here, and it doesn't work. So then you run back because that's comfortable. Oh, no, 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 no. God is always going to do it in a really uncomfortable way. I think I read this, might have read this last week, but I feel like I should read it again. So Genesis 12 tells the story of Adam. I mean, not Adam, of Abraham. Adam's in here too. In Genesis, just a little further in the front of Genesis. So Abram was his name, and God changed his name to Abraham after he left and did the thing God called him to do. So this is in Genesis 12:1. Now the Lord has said to Abram, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. I will make your name great. His name wasn't great already. That was God promising him. I'm going to make your name great. But first, you got to leave. First, you got to leave what's comfortable. First, you got to leave what you know. First, I'm going to take you to a place that you don't know, and I need you to trust me. So he says it 4 times because God knew it's hard. God said, I will make your name great. I will bless you and make your name great. See, he said it twice. And I will bless those who bless you, period. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. So God told him, I'm going to bless you twice. I'm going to make your name great twice. Because God knew it was going to be hard. That's in the Bible, y'all. I didn't make that up. So God already knows it's going to be hard. But will you choose to trust God, or are you going to choose comfort? One of my favorite quotes by Stephen Furtick is, the enemy of faith is not fear, it's actually familiarity. Because we want to stay where it's familiar. We want to stay where it's easy. We want to stay in where we know. And Adam had to leave everything and everybody in order for God to show him something new. And some of you, God's been trying to show you something new, but you keep choosing comfort. The other area of comfort, which is number 3, is money. You know, it's interesting. And Mark Cuban said this. Those of you that don't know who Mark Cuban is an entrepreneur. He's on Shark Tank, but he also is the owner of Dallas Mavericks. Okay. Listen, this is what he said, and I'm quoting, I'm reading it. Mark Cuban once said that people who start businesses on loans are fools. Loans aside, you'll have to sacrifice a lot of money to start a business. Because, see, people rely on other people giving them money. What if nobody ever gave you money? I know for me, nobody ever gave me money. I started calling my daytime job my investor because me staying employed is how I paid to start my business. And you're going to have to spend money to make money. So you can't just quit and think, oh, I'm going to start generating revenue. Okay, that's a great, big, lofty hope. I'm going to step on faith. But God doesn't tell you to have stupid faith. He wants you to have wise faith. Let's have strategic faith. And then, so once I started making predictable revenue and I quit my job, my faith was that I was going to continue to make that predictable revenue. But in the beginning, I began my business alongside because you're going to need money to make money. So people make that an excuse. Listen, my very first coach, I didn't have a huge expense account. I didn't have some inheritance that I got from my parents. I didn't have a savings account. Let me keep it all the way real. I was paying off my student loans. My first coach cost $30,000. And those of you that have heard my story, that my business failed for years and I was only making $13,000, by the way, that was on a good year. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford not to do it. How did I pay for that? I couldn't get a loan for that. Again, I didn't have some big savings account. I put it on my credit card. And I said to myself, I'm going to do whatever my coach tells me to do, and I'm going to pay it off. In 6 months, my business went from 13,000 to over 200,000. And I know it's because I had to invest at the level I wanted to see the return. Many people think, I'm going to do this free webinar over here. I'm going to do this free webinar over here. I had a whole free notebook that produced no fruit, no revenue. Because what happens when you do all this free stuff, it gives you a little bit of strategy, but not enough to really move anything forward. It wasn't until I hired that coach that I saw all the holes and she began to show me how to connect all these dots from all that free stuff I got. But I had to pay $30,000 to get that. Was it worth it? I say yeah, because I've been growing by leaps and bounds since. Matter of fact, I've net had less than a six-figure year since. Come on, Lord, and drop that in my spirit, right? So you've got to understand that it will take you spending money to make money. So those of you that are trying to do the cheap way, okay, you're gonna get what you give. You listen, you sow what you reap. You reap what you sow. Sow little money, get little result. Pour everything you have into it, you get everything you have, and then some. God will always give you double for your trouble, as my pastor used to say. So I had to stop being cheap with my transformation. I had to be willing to invest. Listen, God invests gifts and talents in you and each of us. So I said, if God invested this gift in me, let me invest in what God invested. Listen, there's a story in the Bible, a parable of talents. It's in Matthew, I believe, 25. I'm not going to look it up just for time's sake. And in the parable of talents, it talks about a boss. And many of you guys have heard this story that had three employees. And he's like, I'm going away. He gave one employee, I can't remember how much, but just let me just say it like this. He gave each of the three employees talents to hold while he was gone. The first one invested the talents and got 3 times back. Second one invested, got 2 times back. The third one dug a hole in the ground and put the talents, which I believe is money, but it's interesting, it's called talents. Put the talents in the ground. And when the boss came back, this first one said, well, I got 3 times. I got 2 times. The second one said, the first one said, well, here's your money. He said, well, you didn't do anything with it. And he got severely punished for that. So here's the thing I want you to get from me sharing that. How will you give God a great return on his investment in you? Now, before I do number 4 and number 5, those of you that are saying, Nicole, I need help with this, I've got a special gift for you. So let me show you this commercial. But before I do that, my 2-day intensive, Be the Answer. I'm going to walk you through it. But in this event, I'll walk you through all 4 of the areas you need to move your purpose forward. But let me play the commercial and I'll come back. And again, I have a gift for you. Are you ready to start or grow your purpose-focused business? Well, that's the exact reason I'm inviting you to join me at my virtual 2-day intensive called Be the Answer. This is where I get to coach you and teach you in 2 days all you need to, number 1, get clear on your purpose, your niche, or even how your brilliance can and should produce your paycheck. Number 2, how to stand out in the sea of people who do what you do and build a tribe that will buy. And number 3, to create multiple streams of revenue in your business. But ultimately, to position you to live as the highest and best version of who God created you to be. See, Be the Answer is an event where I give you the tools you need to create and sustain a business that you're passionate about, all while showing you how to generate multiple streams of income. Now, there are many conferences that give you a feel-good message and send you away feeling motivated and inspired. But once you get home, you realize that motivation and inspiration just isn't enough to catapult your business or your purpose forward. So, no, there will not be a bunch of speakers. It's me and you and a select few for the 2 days where I give you the step-by-step action you need to move your business into real profit right now. I can't wait to coach you and teach you in those 2 days at Be the Answer. Learn more and register at BeTheAnswerEvent.com. All right, and I'm back. So listen, those of you that register tonight, use the code PIVOT22. Now, I had ended the code yesterday, but yesterday was Super Bowl. So I extended it. Pivot22, you get $100 off, but you got to do it tonight. Those of you that are here watching this, you have till midnight, right? And here's why I want you in the room. Because what I know is that if you're going to move your purpose into multiple streams of revenue, you need support. You'll never get support cheaper than $197, which is what it is with $100 off, even $297 without it. You'll never find any place that will give you the strategy you need to move it forward, where a coach is coaching you in 2 days, not a bunch of speakers. This is not a conference where you got all these speakers coming at you. No, it's me and you. That's it. Okay. All right. So let me get back into teaching. So number 4, you've got to let go of fear and doubt. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be scary to start a business, but God never asked you to not be afraid. See, faith is fear in reverse. It's when you feel the fear, but you look at it dead in the face, that faith gets activated. That's when you got to trust God the most. That's when you've got to know, like you know, that God would not put you someplace and let you fall. And if you're activating the gift, you're sacrificing in order to activate the gift he put in you. Oh, he's going to show up and show out. As he said to Abraham, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. That wasn't just for Abraham. Why do you think it's in the Bible for us all to read it? I'm just saying. And then last but not least, perception and public opinion. Often we're worried about what will other people think and what will people have to say. Oh, this was a big one for me because I had this huge entertainment industry job and this other thing, what do I call it? And when I started sharing it with a couple of my friends, they were like, are you crazy? Well, I felt crazy because I didn't know what it was, but I kept feeling this inkling in my soul and I couldn't deny that. I kept feeling this thing inside me that was making me excited and passionate about it. Listen, I remember staying up all night writing out all this content and all these workshops, which I still love doing this, by the way. But I'm a natural producer. It's like writing scripts. I love it. But that's who I be. I can see people's gifts and see all the ways you can make money from it. That's who I be. And I couldn't deny it. And so I could choose to do this thing, or I could choose to stay in the lane that everybody else would ever recognize me. I could choose to do this thing that was rumbling in my soul. I could choose to go down the path that I know God created for me. I could choose this thing that I know everybody honored me, and I looked really, really big, and I was doing these big baller shot caller kind of things. Or I could do this thing that might have looked little, that might not have looked like much. But God will always give you a ruler over little before he makes you ruler over much. He'll see if he can trust you with a gift before he's going to give you everything that he has in store for you. So, as we look at what's love got to do with it, the biggest piece I want you to think about is the sacrifice it will take for you to pivot into what's next for you. See, God doesn't give you this inkling of around your purpose. He's not checking your resume, he's not checking your bio, he's not checking your check account. He's checking your faith. He's not looking at B of A or Chase or Wells Fargo and saying, hey, can she afford that? Can he afford that? No. He knows what he has in store for you. And when you trust him, when you can't see it. Again, Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that's our conversation for today. What's love got to do with it? Now, as you know, I dig deeper tomorrow morning at Clubhouse, and I will be live tomorrow morning. So I want to invite you to join me tomorrow. Again, Clubhouse is FPP breakfast every Tuesday morning. I'm live with you at 8:30 a.m. EST on Clubhouse. So join me. And in the meantime, those of you that know, like now is your time to go to Be the Answer, grab your seat. $100 off. That ends tonight. $100 off. Use the code PIVOT22, all caps, PIVOT22. So with that said, y'all, I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'm always blessed, honored, and privileged to pour into you. I hope that you are celebrating, whether you have a Valentine or your own Valentine. Celebrate the love that God put in your spirit to do the work that you were called to do in this world as we pour more into that tomorrow morning. So I'll see you bright and early, FPP Circle, 8:30 a.m. EST. In the meantime, let me say to you that I love you. I don't take this sacred space that you allow me in your life as you watch, whether you watch me live or watch the replay. I don't take it for granted. It's my honor to hold the space that you go after the highest and best version of who God created you to be. So with that said, have a phenomenal rest of your evening. I'll see you bright and early, 8:30 a.m. EST, to dig even deeper into this conversation. What's love got to do with it? See you in the morning.